Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to our little corner of the internet. Pen here. Today I'll be reading chapter 3 of Waffles, a Shin, Soukoku and Soukoku fanfiction. Obviously this is Bungo Stray Dogs. Just so you know, there's going to be a little bit in here that sounds really sexual, like about quarter in. It's just a warning, but it's not sexual. They're just making cupcakes and the author just wanted me to cry on the inside as I read this. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's get into the book. Chapter 3. Why are you up this late? Ryunosuke asked. Finishing my homework. More so, why are you still up? I was finishing a project. Ryunosuke made it evident with his clothing that was filled with paint. Atsushi hummed and it went silent. Do you want me to make us some tea? Ryunosuke plopped down in a seat. Atsushi took his actions as a yes. The silver-haired boy began the process of making tea, which was one of the things he could make other than chazuke. Atsushi took a guess and that he'd like something sweet, so he prepared the same as him. Atsushi started to collect his words. Can I ask you a question? Depends on the question. Why do all your paintings have no colour in the eyes? Atsushi asked, taking a leap of faith this time, since he didn't really know how Ryunosuke would act. He seemed to be uptight about his art, which for the most part made Atsushi never really touch on the subject. There aren't any colours to match, Ryunosuke simply answered, coughing a bit into his hand. Even if it didn't satisfy Atsushi, it was still a reply instead of a rude remark. Atsushi set down the tea once it was done, steam coming off the hot liquid. Ryunosuke blew on it softly, then took a sip, his tongue brushing against the rim of the glass cup. Atsushi watched as he did so, which Ryunosuke was quick to notice. Why are you staring at me? Ryunosuke narrowed his eyes on his other cautiously. Oh! Atsushi jumped back and gave a small smile, the one he usually has. Sorry, I got distracted. Atsushi replied softly, taking a sip of his own tea. Do you like it? I normally make mine extra sweet. Most people don't enjoy how sweet it is either, so... Atsushi was cut off by Ryunosuke's words. It's good, Ryunosuke said quietly. His gentle stare on his glass... His gentle stare on the glass, small ripples continuously formed on the tea. Atsushi noticed every time Ryunosuke went in for a sip, he took a bite down on the rim of the glass, making a slight clink noise. Atsushi could notice it every time, his eyes observant on every small quirk in his movements and actions. Atsushi was good at body language. He could tell if someone snapped or someone became embarrassed, even if it was well hidden so well. But right now he was focusing on every small twitch or a glimmer in his eyes whenever the dim light reflected off of the teacup. Where are Daza and Chuya? Ryunosuke broke the silence. They're at the store. This late? I guess. Atsushi focused back on his own tea, which he barely drank any of. The two fell into the comfortable silence fell between the two. It was great having moments where it was just you, there was someone beside you, and you didn't feel that lonely. You could get lost in your thoughts without them thinking you're dazing out or you're bored with them. I'm going to go to sleep. Ryunosuke got up from his high chair he sat on. Oh. Atsushi muttered a little disappointed. You should go to sleep too. Ryunosuke stopped for a moment before he took off to venture to his room. Shinko. Atsushi's eyes could only widen at the words. Huh? I'm not a tiger though. Atsushi stammered out, completely caught off guard. Ryunosuke only let out a small cough in response, if you could even call that a response, then left. Atsushi could only sigh in defeat. He walked over to clean the cups and saw Ryunosuke's, which was empty, which left a thin yet big smile on his face. thick white liquid oozed out of the entrance. Atsushi let out a shaky grasp as he squeezed tightly onto the base. Dadzawa, I don't think I can do this, Atsushi muttered out, trying to focus. His eyes almost squeezed shut as he wiggled, trying to keep a firm grasp on it. You need to work the tip a bit more, Ryunosuke said as he watched the boy struggle over a trivial matter, taking a moment to cough into his hand. Decorating cupcakes shouldn't be this hard, Atsushi sighed in frustration as he set down the white icing cream. The two had gotten assigned as partners for this semester in cooking class. Today they were making cupcakes, which was easy until decorating. Both couldn't succeed in cutting off the tip of the icing package. Therefore, Atsushi was having trouble getting any out. On the other side of the class, some pair, Rumpo, Atsushi thinks it was, who was trying to eat the cupcakes before they were even done. The one who was working with him, who was supposedly Po, was doing his best to prevent him from eating it. Even the teacher had to step in and take the cupcakes away from Rumpo's reach, which was on the top of a very high shelf. Poor Rumpo. If you cut a bit more off the tip, like I said, then maybe it would be easier, Ryunosuke said, coughing yet again. Why don't we just make them plain? We have to add something. Sprinkles, Atsushi said as he picked up a jar of sprinkles. There was no way of adding sprinkles without frosting, and he did sprinkles, mind you, and he did add sprinkles. Mind you, lots were tossed into the cupcakes. Without any frosting, they're just going to fall right off. Ryunosuke watched them stay on top of the cupcakes, some falling. Frosting is overrated, Atsushi determined with a smug smile on his face, about to burst out laughing. Ryunosuke seemed to think about it was great significance to make sure the cupcakes were done correctly. He just sighed with much annoyance. Is everything good here? The teacher asked, walking over to the two. He was a kind old man who ran a coffee shop nearby. It wasn't fancy, but the coffee itself tasted great. His hands even smelled like coffee, even after washing them off. It's going well, Atsushi beamed, excited to show the teacher the cupcakes. The teacher kept a smile, but you could tell by looking at the mess of sprinkles easily put on the decorations, his expectations went down big time. It looks great, but where is the frosting? The teacher asked. Suddenly, Atsushi's world shattered like glass. Atsushi choked out. He could feel the slightest smirk on Ryunosuke behind him. It wouldn't work? That's a simple fix. The teacher picked up the scissors from the frosting. Picked up the frosting and scissors from a shelf behind them, cutting a bit more off the tip. It was the perfect amount, and gave it to them. Thank you, Atsushi said, ever so small, taking the icing in his hands. The teacher walked off then. Hurry up and put the frosting on top, Ryunosuke said as he coughed into his hand. Atsushi, who was about to be stubborn about the frosting, put on the frosting. It looked a lot more messy than it did before, but at least they made cupcakes. Oh, the final touch, Atsushi said. Atsushi ran over to the pantry and took out some strawberries. Why strawberries? Because they make it even sweeter, Atsushi said, putting a strawberry on each cupcake. It made them look a bit better than before. At least they weren't just wobbly messes. They each had a strawberry put perfectly in the middle. Why didn't you help me for once? Atsushi asked. Ryunosuke didn't actually help that much during the process. Maybe it was him more interested in watching how Atsushi bakes, which wasn't perfect. Ryunosuke paused for a second, but ended up grabbing the strawberries and putting them in as well. In the end, they both got a C, which is a good grade, kind of, because their teacher was a bit too kind in grading. After the baking class, it was lunchtime, which they were allowed to bring out the cupcakes. Are you sure we should even bring them? Atsushi asked as he looked down at the cupcakes they created. The cupcakes were a disaster. Too sweet is how their teacher described them, even though Ryosuke and Atsushi thought they tasted perfect. Who said we'd even share with the others? Ryosuke said as they walked down to the garden. I don't know, it'd be nice to? Atsushi tried to make sense of his words. His small smile was still on him, one that made him unique in his own way. One that was unique in its own way. Ryosuke hummed in response. Once they made it to the others brought cupcakes as well. Chuya and Daza had ones with dark blue frosting on them, with sprinkles placed perfectly. Atsushi was taken aback by how perfect they were. The others had been talking, and yes, Gin and Higuchi were there again. Atsushi heard Chuya complaining about how Daza did none of the work. You know I'm not as good as baking as you are, Chibi, Daza would retort as Chuya smacked him playfully. Atsushi and Ryosuke would end up sitting on the bench inside the same spot, but a little further away from the chaos. I guess it's more cupcakes for us then, Atsushi smiled as he opened the small container. You made them too sweet, Ryosuke muttered. Yeah, well, I thought they wanted 2 cups of sugar, not 1. Atsushi replied. Ryosuke wouldn't admit it, but the cupcakes actually tasted amazing. His sweet tooth called to him. He took one and ate it before He took one out and ate it, making Atsushi beam in happiness. You seem to like it, Atsushi smiled a bit, almost a bit of a devious smirk he had. Well, no one else is going to eat it, Ryosuke said as he continued eating, small bites at a time. Atsushi took a cupcake to eat as well. His eyes wandered over to Chuya, Daza, Gin, and Higuchi, who were maintaining a loud conversation. They seemed to be enjoying themselves overall. It suddenly became really quiet between Ryosuke and Atsushi, a comfortable type where Atsushi... Well, maybe to Atsushi, who was more of a social butterfly, but at the current moment, he was enjoying his cupcake. Ryosuke could only come to realize how close he'd seemingly Ryosuke could only come to the realization of how close he seemingly became to the other. Fear. Shivers ran down his spine as his eyes widened. Why? He's never been close to anyone, is what he'd led himself to believe. No. They were just conversing more often, and it was not a problem. That's what he thought to himself. It was for his own safety. Octogawa-kun, can I please try a cupcake? A brunette appeared beside Ryosuke. His vacant, docile eyes grew menacing again. He was quick to answer. No, was his answer, but it was how he usually answered most questions. Most haven't seen him say yes once in his life. Please, if it's good, I'll praise you. Daza edged his hand closer to the cupcake inside the container. Ryosuke pursed his lips before he could respond, Atsushi cut in. I warn you, they're really sweet, Atsushi said with a smile and a small giggle as he handed one over to Daza. Daza took it in delight, and even gave a small grin before he dug into it. This is really sweet, Daza said with a mouthful of... Daza mumbled with a slightly bitter face, his mouth full of cupcake. Yeah, well, Atsushi-kun did warn you, Chuya said in an obvious tone. Yeah, I dare you to try one, Chibi. Daza grabbed one and handed it over to Chuya, with a devious smile on his face. No way. Let me try one. Higuchi peered over and grabbed the cupcake, biting it in with delight. It tastes great? she said, even though she was visibly struggling with each bite. Atsushi gave off a nervous laugh. The boy averted his gaze to Ranosuke, who within the time edged further away from the rest and began to draw. Atsushi pulled himself over to see if he could sneak a peek on what the boy was drawing, only to be met with a glare. "Do you need something?" Ranosuke asked coldly. Atsushi said for a moment. "He seems defensive about his art," Atsushi noted to himself. "Oh, sorry," Ranosuke simply replied, gazing in the exact opposite direction, having to avoid the glare that could pierce through his skull, like lasers or something. From then on out, the day went by almost too fast. There was the day-long teasing from mostly Dazai, as expected, about the cupcakes, resulting in Ranosuke being more standoffish. Atsushi noticed that failure was worse to Ranosuke than most people. Atsushi couldn't understand why it affected his mood so much. Atsushi's first days at the school came to a closing end, and he found himself more interested in Ranosuke as a person, why he draws Taika so often, why he likes books, books he likes, his favourite weather, and why he even called Atsushi Jinko. In the end, hang on, just got an ad. In the end, there we go. In the end, Atsushi found himself determined to become Ranosuke's friend, if he wasn't already. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, and if you want to subscribe, if you're not already. If you want to, you don't have to. You can support me through my Patreon, which will be in the link down below at the very bottom. I hope you guys enjoyed it though. Make sure to take care of yourselves, or I will pull a Dadzawa on you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!